G'day, Alex here, owner of High Performance Father, and touching base with an amazing video I want to share with you from the inside. We did a phenomenal event. I'm wearing the shirt. On the back it says Kosci 2.0. It was a life-changing event for 32 men and myself. I want to share with you some of the insights in this exclusive coaching video on our Inner Circle program, our High Performance Father coaching program. Some of the shares and stories that these men went through, some of the breakdowns which led to the breakthroughs across what was a phenomenal 4-day event. So sit back, make sure you get some pen and paper. We'll get a pen and paper out to make some notes. There are some amazing gold nuggets in there from these men, not just from me, from these men, and key takeaways that you can apply to your life so you can win in 2022 and get on the front foot moving forward the way that you want to on your terms. Make sure you have no distractions. Give yourself the time. This is your time. This is your time to take some time and space out for yourself. Watch and listen to the words of these men off the back of a phenomenal event where they were symbolically and physically at the highest point of the country, what they have to say, their shares, and apply this to your life right away. That I want to run through for a lot of you guys to understand that regards to the environment, there's always something, fellas. It never ends. But Kev, was there any attempt at self-sabotage or any doubts or any challenges that you faced? Like, what did any of that creep in while you're at Kosci? And how was the environment? How's that transfer to what you're going to be doing now and using this online platform too in our coaching program?
If we start off with the environment, I think the environment was so supportive. I mean, everybody went there for their own reasons, and everybody had a reason to be there. But I mean, the environment was obviously when we're online with people and we're going through the chat, there's chat going back and forth. So when you got there, it was a case of you already felt like you know the guys before you even get there. So, but when you got there, it was like the pictures of the people on the screen. It didn't look like reality when you got there. It was like, oh bloody hell, you look a bit different or whatever. But one thing that overcame was everybody was just overflowing. Everybody was positive. Everybody was basically really engaged, and we're there for a reason. We all had our cause and a reason to be there. And whilst we were there, everybody wanted to share the reason why they were there. Everybody had a story to tell, and everybody was supportive. So it was just an environment that you couldn't get anywhere else. You just the positivity and the uplift that everybody fed into everybody. There wasn't one negative comment in the 4 days that we were there, and everybody was lifting everybody up. So when sabotage did come in, you just had to look around the room, and that was dispelled really quickly. You were talking to people, and it was like, oh, I was there. I'm not normally one to talk in an open environment. So we had 5 wonderful workshops, and each one of them, at the start of it, a bit apprehensive about putting in and wanting to say something. So I'd hold back a bit, but then everybody else is diving in, and there's a lot of other people feeling uncomfortable about saying what they wanted to say, but we're there to get something out of it. And I think everybody dived in with full enthusiasm to get out of it what they needed to get out of it, and we all did that. So self-sabotage sort of didn't really happen too much because of the environment, and the environment was epic.
Love it, man. That's awesome. What are you using from that as fuel for the fire to then take into your goal for the month of February? And I guess essentially what you want to achieve before or by Easter time, mate?
I mean, I've had a bit of a self-sabotage just on my heart rate and what the effort I've been putting into my training. I had a conversation with Mike, and he's been redlining all over the plot, and we had a conversation. It was quite a funny one because he gave me a demonstration how he runs, and he didn't look too pretty. And you know what? And from that, I went, you know what? I can do this. I can actually try and ramp up and get into the red zone. So I basically on the day. I mean, my training's been about longevity and doing long runs, and because I've been doing that, at the end of it, I don't think I've got anything left to give. But one of the things I did, I came back and said, you know what, I'm going to get in this bloody red zone. I just really hit it as hard as I could, just so that I could get in there. And when I got there, I went, wow, a bit of a breakthrough for me. And it means I just haven't been putting in I've been putting everything in. Well, I've got a couple more levels to go. So for me, I've had a major breakthrough in that. I've got a lot more to give, and I've just been given what I thought was my max, and it's nowhere near.
No, great share, Kev. Thank you, mate. Great share. Isn't it fascinating too, fellas, like when we look at that, especially that last point with Kev, like it's not about trying to blow yourself out of the water or become a CrossFit champion or a decathlete at the Olympics or that sort of stuff. But essentially, once we build a good tolerance and a good regime, we can always find that additional point of discomfort. That doesn't mean that I'm addicted to pain when I exercise or work out. I certainly don't blow out or redline, otherwise I'm exhausted and it fucks the rest of my week. But I'm smart in my approach to make sure that I'm questioning and challenging what the little voice says inside what my heart, as healthy as it can be with a history of data using my zone, dictates to then look at the cause and effect of when I do push a little bit harder on the rower, on the ski erg, with my body weight stuff, with gymnastics, with a barbell, with dumbbells. This becomes such an intrinsic nature. And I might touch on you on that in a second, Drew, then we'll cut to you, Amesbury. It becomes such an intrinsic nature. Like that's what Kev's talking about. That's the environment, which brings energy, enthusiasm. And I guess the big thing, well, this is energy, enthusiasm, and the environment, because you can all piggyback off each other and drive energy. This isn't a whole weakest link thing. It's like, well, there is none, because we spot each other up, and that becomes the chain again. And the chain is strong, non-negotiable, like the end. And this is the word that I finished on, which you guys will remember. Let's be excited, man. Like fuck, we're here, we're alive. What an opportunity. What an opportunity, like Kev said, to level yourself up and challenge yourself in certain areas. One amazing area, as long as things are in order and you've built runs on the board, is absolutely your physical health and training regime, because it's such an easy fucking way to challenge yourself. Like it's 3 to 4 times a week, not 21 to 28 when it comes to nutrition and all the other bullshit that comes into play with your missus, with your kids, with your work, with travel. Like that's just fucking easy pickings for the batsman, as old Michael Holding used to say, the fucking West Indies commentator. So Drew, let's bring you on, man. Like, what do you see out of this when we're looking at?
Well, mate, we saw a lot of that over the weekend, where guys don't generally even. I'll go as far to say about the sharing. Piggyback off what Kev said there, where everyone was happy to sit and share and would share virtually anything because they knew, or one, they felt safe, but also everyone drew that energy from everyone else. They felt that they could share what they needed to share, so they made them level up and made them put their hand up and go, well, if he can share all those kinds of things, then I can share that too. And then if we go into even the physicality side of it all, when we're at the bottom of the mountain and there's a couple of guys that were going to go halfway up and then go from there, and they talk themselves into going from the bottom because of the positive energy that was around, to be able to bring everyone up and go, well, hang on, I want to do it, but I'm going to go from the bottom. And I know that they're also, on the flip side of that, there were a couple of guys that went from up further, and they disappointed in themselves because they didn't pull themselves up and level up. So that's where it was a perfect dichotomy on that trip, where people are going, okay, well, I'm going to stick with safety, and others are there going, well, he's going to go and do it. I wasn't going to, but now I'm going to. I'm going to push myself to level up because of the energy and environment in the tribe and quality of guys there. And then once you're in that environment, as you said, it becomes intrinsic, where you're just going to keep dragging each other along. It's like a great football team when they're going really well. You look back at St. George back in the day when they won 11 grand finals. Now, you had some players drop in and drop out, but they still had a core group there. And that core group had a great culture in the club. They had a great playing ethic, and they probably had a great party ethic as well. But they've got there and they bound pretty well. And you see all good teams that will last the distance have all that intrinsically in them, because they're driving each other, they're pushing each other along. And you can, as your little pictures showed there, you got one guy that's going really well, you got 50 guys around them going, he's going really well, I want a bit of that too, so I'm going to push that a little bit harder to help level up as well.
Yeah, great point, man. And look, I want you guys to post in the comment section as well. You guys on the Zoom here, you can do it here, or you can do it in the comment section too. Where's another area of your life where you have leveled up in your actions and you're proud of that? What's something where you did turn? And I want you guys who are watching this as well, this isn't just watching this session, dive in on workplace. Where did you convert a 50-50 into a 90-10? Because symbolically, you had the tribe to go, well, what's my fucking excuse? There's no bullshit needed, because he did it. He's doing it. He wants to do it. I want to do it. Post in the comment section, fellas, because that positive reinforcement is very powerful. That's the whole reason why we're here. If I was here by myself with no coaches, we would not be here. The end. That simple. You've been with me 2.5, nearly 3 years now, Drew. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, mate, it is, yeah.
Appreciate the share, mate. And I guess for you, mate, just before we head over to Ames, what's the biggest thing that you saw or learned from the tribesmen while we're there, on top of the positive reinforcement?
Mate, it's camaraderie, to be honest. And it wasn't just the positive reinforcement for fitness stuff, but it was when other guys could actually see each other down, regardless of the weight of the share. There's always someone there underneath to pick them up, and didn't matter what it was traveling them. And that's where I said to you today, when we were having a chat earlier about lunchtime, like that was one major thing I took out of it, by not having to be switched on quite so much like we did last year. By being able to just kick back, I could watch all that happen, and I could dive in where I needed to as well. And I was watching other guys dive in and really get in and be the crutch for guys when they needed it, and be able to bring it up. So that was one big takeaway from me, for the tribe to be able to go, yep, yeah, we do have that positive reinforcement because they're succeeding, but it was more support there. And when the guys needed it and did share, the support was there for them.
Yeah, love it, man. Great point. Thank you. Support through the struggle, fellas. Don't ever forget that. Like it's you've all done it for someone else, right? So don't feel bad when someone offers to have it or do it for you. Like this is how the universe works.